How many of you coach managers as part of your job today? Keep your hands up if those managers you coach, you have written down goals for that coaching relationship. Keep your hands up if the boss of the people that you are coaching knows that you are coaching them and is involved in the coaching. And finally, raise your hand if you feel you're getting the recognition that you deserve for the coaching that you do to your managers in your business today. Okay, 2 out of 30. We have a huge opportunity here. What I find is HR leaders do not get the recognition they deserve for the impact that you have on individuals every day, every week, throughout the year. You're kind of the unsung heroes of the advice you give people, and you don't give yourself credit for it. You're maybe a little humble in not shouting about the impact that you have around coaching. And there are some things that you can do that will accelerate the impact that you have with your coaching relationships and get more credit for it. And this is one of the keys to being a really successful, well-remembered HR leader, because you build coaching relationships and you build relationships for life. How many of you are still connected or still friends with people from previous companies because of the coaching relationships you built? Yeah, over half of you. It's a huge opportunity. It's a huge opportunity for satisfaction. It's a huge opportunity for networking and future job opportunities for you, as you know, we all know how people move on to different companies. And it's a great way to increase that skill of being a coach, of being an internal coach. So my suggestion to you is you could all have an opportunity to coach 10 leaders or managers or high potentials in your company. I choose 10 because it's kind of a realistic number. You could start with a smaller number. You could start with 2, 1, 5, pick a number. But having that as one of your goals will do a few things. It will, first of all, identify key people in your company. You may already have a process for identifying your strongest leaders or your highest potential. And it will give you an opportunity to have different dialogues with some of your leaders and managers about the people you're coaching. So how do you do this? This is kind of the cycle for being an internal coach. The first one at the top corner here is identifying them. And this often gets skipped. I'm sure many of the coaching relationships you have are spontaneous. People walk into your office and say, please, Jen, can I talk to you? I'm really struggling with my boss, my team member. And you go through a spontaneous coaching session with them. Or you may have people that you regularly meet on a monthly or quarterly basis and give them feedback. Going through a formal identification process for which of those 10 or 5 leaders that you coach is going to be really helpful to having some strategic conversations with your manager you support about who the most important people are in your business. They could be people who are successors to their boss, potential successors. They could be square peg, round hole people who are fabulous but just in the wrong job and need some help figuring out where they go next. Or they could have performance challenges. I'd encourage you for them not to be all that third category, because that is not a good return on investment of your time. Focus on those fabulous people, those people who are going to grow your business. So there's the identification process. Then there's the agreement process. So now we're starting to talk about something a little more formal and structured than the people coming into your office saying, please help me. I've got this one situation. This is maybe something a little more structured where you want to ask them whether they are ready to have a coach. I always say there are 3 things that make a coaching relationship successful. Number 1, is there a good personal dynamic between both of us? Or is there just not a connection? And it's not personal, but it is personal. So there has to be that personal connection. The second reason coaching relationships either succeed or fail is, are there specific goals in place with measures around what is it we're doing here? Or are we just sitting and talking and you're venting, or I'm a great therapy session for you but nothing really changes? And the third area that makes a coaching relationship successful is that person willing to try new things, and are they open and aware enough to listen? Because otherwise it's a waste of time for everybody. So if you can fulfill those 3 criteria, you can build some really strong internal coaching relationships. So the set goal process is really key. It doesn't have to be incredibly detailed. You just pick 2 things. How will we know we've succeeded? Have a specific time. I always say you have to have at least 3 months, because it takes that long to build a relationship, try some new things, see if it's been successful, course correct. And then do some practice. Whatever it is they're working on, maybe you're observing them. If they're working on communicating in front of an organization of 50 people, sit with them in one of their all hands, give them some immediate feedback at the end of that session, and then see where they need to course correct. And then this is my favorite part, the bit that the unsung heroes of HR miss out on. At the end of that coaching term, at the end of that 3-month window, you sit down with the boss of that coach and talk about what differences have you noticed in their behavior? Have we met their goals? Aren't I a fabulous coach? Thank you very much for the feedback. But seriously, I mean, being able to have that conversation because you've done all those steps ahead of time will reposition you with leaders to say, look, I can add value. Let me show you by being a little more structured in things you just did not know I was doing, but I'm doing it every day.